Good people on the quest for good content. What's good? Welcome to another installment of Song of the Week. I'm one of your co-hosts, as always, Bill Farrow, joined by my other co-host and the master of the channel, Jordan Bell, and a special guest today that we'll get to him in a quick second. But Jordan, talk to me. How you feeling? What you're listening to? And please introduce our guest.
You know, Bill, I'm doing good, man. I'm excited for this week's episode. I want to introduce our very special guest straight out of Chicago, TBA. TBA, what's happening, man?
Yes, sir. What's the word? Glad y'all brought me on here. We're going to have some good, fun conversation. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. So you've got a new project out, The Lost Years en route. Let's just start off by talking a little bit about that project, man. I've run through it a few times. There's a couple tracks on there that I'm really feeling, but I'd like to know just kind of like how that project came about and where you started with it, and what you're doing with that project, man.
No, so the way that project kind of came about, it's actually funny because that project wasn't supposed to take this long. So I don't know how much you dug into the discography, but there's a project called The Lost Years, Nostalgia Kills. And while I was working on this project, I accidentally started making another project, being Nostalgia Kills. And I was like, so The Lost Year was this really supposed to be Lost en Route and The Destination, which the destination is in the process of being made now. But while I was making this project, I was like, you know what? I got a lot of songs that I talk about my childhood and whatnot. So I started working on Nostalgia Kills, dropped that, and then now finally made this project. So this project's kind of been in the work for 2.5, 3 years, really.
Okay.
Mostly, for the most part, almost done for the past 2 years, but just fine tuning some things. And then obviously I wanted to drop Nostalgia Kills first because I felt like it told the story better compared to dropping this first. So that's kind of how it kind of came about.
Gotcha. How long have you been doing music? So I did go back through your discography.
Mhm.
One of the projects I listened to was Showtime. I think it came out in 2021.
Yeah.
But I went back as far as it looked like there was stuff as far as 2019.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing music now?
2018 is when I kind of started. Well, I mean, kind of started rap, like freestyle rapping in college, and
Yeah.
all that jazz. So I guess seriously, 2020, about for 5 years. Seriously, 5 years, but in general, probably like 7 years now.
Okay.
Okay.
So let me ask you a question about that, because it starts off just like, I make music too. I got a couple EPs, right? But it starts off freestyling, right? So what prompted you from that to get motivated enough to be like, okay, let me figure out who I am when I step in front of a mic. Let me figure out what my style is.
So there's two things. The reason I even got into music in the first place, I played college football.
Okay.
And my freshman year, like probably second month, I tore my ACL. That was my first serious injury. So I was out of commission and bored. Didn't have nothing to do for real. So that's when we first started, me and a few teammates started messing around, making music, just we would record on the phone. We didn't know how to use anything, so we would all do it in one take.
Yeah. Hey, you got to start somewhere.
try to do it like that. And then we ended up making a full project. We were working on a project together. And there was this one boy, a white boy named Dalt. And he was cool with it. And everybody found out he could rap. And they're like, oh, shit. And then one day I come back from work. I went to work, came back. They replaced my verse.
Oh, shit.
with his verse. And I was like, oh, hell no. So after that, I was like, nah, I gotta lock in. I can't be.
Yeah, they can't take me off the songs.
They can't take me off the songs. And then I got to take the mic home for the summer because I was one of the only ones that lived local. So I got to take the mic home. I was just sitting in my room, I had my closet right there. I'm like, why don't I just mess around, see what I could do? And after that, it took off.
Did you come from a house that was like a musical household? And like, if so, what type of music did you listen to growing up?
Absolutely not. Nah,
Okay.
No music background. I had no inkling of even thinking about ever doing music until that time.
Gotcha.
Growing up, I liked early on, because I was into like computer gaming and stuff. Like I was in elementary school, so I was listening to like Systems of Down and
Yeah.
like all that rock stuff, all that real rock stuff.
Okay.
In, like third grade, and then fourth grade, fifth grade, and then I started getting into like Logic, Childish Gambino, real early, like Under Pressure.
Yeah, yeah.
First few music videos of Logic, I was heavy on Logic, heavy
Yeah.
on heavy on the corny Mac Miller. I love
Frat
the
rap, Mac.
yeah, the frat rap. I was heavy
Bro,
on that.
no, I will never speak bad about Mac
Never.
Miller, man. I was bumping all that stuff back in the day. The Kool-Aid and frozen pizza, all that stuff. I was on Mac Miller heavy
It's a
too.
classic mixtape. So yeah,
Yeah,
you got
man.
it.
Yeah, you can't discredit it. It's a timepiece. It's a little corny, but it's a
100%.
timepiece.
100%.
But no, heavy on Childish Gambino too. Childish Gambino, Mick Jenkins early, um, Chance the Rapper, and then it kind of evolved after that. But yeah, those are my really early musical influences.
Okay.
Very cool. And I love the fact that you got in the closet or the booth, right? Right. Just born out of competition, right? Like, oh shit, somebody replaced my verse. That's like the most hip hop shit ever. Cause
Oh yeah, no,
like that's
yeah.
because it's born out of competition, right? It's like, wait. What you mean I'm not in the starting lineup? No, like I'm gonna fix this.
Right.
So I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I wasn't playing, so I had to do. I mean, I
Mhm.
had to be competitive in something. I couldn't play ball, so like I had to be competitive in something else.
Exactly.
Unrelated. What position did you play in football?
So, oh damn, splashed me. When I went to college, I started off playing nose guard, and then
Okay.
after I tore my ACL and whatnot, I switched to offensive line. So I was playing center after that.
When you were playing football, what type of music did you listen to before the games?
We this is what 2016, 2017 was when I was really playing.
Okay.
So it was like Montana 300 was bumping. That was the
Yeah.
Travis Scott. Damn, what's the mixtape that he just dropped on all platforms? That was like all the old stuff. I can't even think of the name.
What, rodeo or days before rodeo?
Days
Yeah.
before rodeo. Days before rodeo. Yes, Travis Scott.
Okay.
Days before rodeo. All that 2016 music. Young Thug, early Young Thug,
Yeah.
Hercules, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all good. That's all good stuff. You can't go wrong with any of that.
You can't. I sometimes will play that stuff back now. I'm like, man, that was a time. That was
All
a
right.
time.
Word. Um, what was I gonna ask you? Oh, so me and Bill will probably have some follow-up questions to this
Yeah.
one, but
Mm.
we talk a lot about production
Mhm.
and picking beats and finding the right producers to work with you on the right songs. How do you go about picking your production? Like specifically on this project, who did the same person produce a lot of these songs? Do you produce on your own? What's your production process like?
So me personally, I couldn't even produce if I tried.
Yeah.
Not my bucket to work into, but I know most of these beats are from my boy Afo. He's a few years younger than me. We went to high school together. I think I was like a senior. He was like a freshman, something like that. But his older brother is actually my videographer. So that's kind of how that connection is. And I recorded the whole project with him. He engineered everything. He did majority of the songs. He did, I think, or just technically 8 songs. He did 6 of the 8 songs. Another guy that also produces another song with Jeremiah. His name is Jeremiah Akama. Call him Maya. I grew up with him. Went to church with him. We played college football together. He makes beats as well. He's also local Illinois. And then there's one YouTube beat. That's the first song, What a Day. There's one YouTube beat. I try to stay away from the YouTube beats, but that one was just it got me. So but no discredit on that. The producer's name is Yojic. That beat was crazy. That beat was insane. So
Yeah.
the production, everybody did their thing and it blended well, which is crazy because the songs were all made separate days, separate
Yeah.
sessions. It just blended perfectly, and that's it was organic. So
Yeah, I was gonna make the observation that it sounds really cohesive. So my first inclination was it all came from one person. So to hear
Right.
that it came from majority one, but obviously a couple more sprinkled in, it's pretty cool. Because it's like 75% one, but you know you had the stylistic vision to kind of piece it and choose beats that made it cohesive. So actually, that does lead me to one of my questions about the theme of the project, right? And then the beats in correlation to that theme. Like, what made you pick some of these beats? And maybe we'll start there. And I have one more question to branch off that. But I'm curious, like, what headspace were you in, and how did these beats complement that headspace while you were writing the project?
well, I mean, if you hear the project, not the greatest headspace ever. It's not the most positive project ever. It got some emotion to it,
Definitely.
but
Something that all of us can relate to, though. Like
yeah,
we've all been there.
yeah, no. Really, when it came to the selection of the beats, I will say that during this time period of my music creation, a lot of the songs, a lot of the beats, I didn't write to like in detail. Usually, our process, me and Alpha's process, was I would just go there,
Hmm.
I would just listen to beats, whatever he's playing. First beat I really liked was let's do this, and then I would write as I hear the beat,
Hmm.
or I would just straight freestyle either or. Because there were some songs I go back to my notes, I'm like, damn, I didn't write this. I just said it basically.
Cool.
But I think I really like that process, and I think that process made this album specifically come out well just because it came from an organic place. Like whatever I felt that day, whatever I experienced that day is what was recorded.
Hmm.
And I think you can hear that on the tracks. You can hear the rawness on the vocals,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of repeating themes that even before the album had a title was already within these songs, and it's like, damn, I had something in my brain before I even knew it. So that was kind of how it came up. It really was not a specific aim until it was right in front of my face. And I'm like, okay, cool, here we go.
No, that's
Yeah.
dope though. Oh, go ahead, Jordan.
No, I was just gonna say, and you touched on it a little bit, but when you're writing, what's your process like? Like, do you write before you get to the studio? Do you always write in the studio? Do you have to kind of zone out? Do you want it to be collaborative? Like, are there a bunch of people in the room? Tell me a little bit what you're writing. Like, I do creative writing, and like I need to be in a room, silent, locked in there by myself. I'd be curious to know what your writing process is like.
Depends on the track. It depends on the session. If it's
Yeah.
back in the day when I really like paid for studio time, I gotta write the songs before, and I gotta practice the songs before, because it's like when I go and I got 3 hours, I'm getting my 3 hours worth in those 3 hours. So I'm making it work. So back when I used to pay for studio time, that was my process then. With my boy Afo, he blessing. He provided me a blessing and let me record there for the most part for free. Obviously, I would return the favor, get him food or whatever. But he gave me the time to really let my thoughts marinate. So that's why I was able to kind of just walk in, no lyrics, nothing, no idea of what I'm making, and just sit, listen, maybe lay a chorus down, hear it, and then write, or just bunch in from there. It gives you two different results.
Okay.
When you write in detail, you might be able to write the hardest bars, but you've already recited it so much that it might take the natural emotion out of it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Whereas when you are just thinking of it on the spot and it's just boom, I felt this, say it. It feels so much more raw. So I mean, it really depends. I don't. I think I prefer having being able to just do it right up front rather than writing it. But it depends on the situation.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Versatility.
Bill, I cut you off earlier. Go
No,
ahead.
no, that's great. That was actually going to be what I ended up asking, or a version of it, Jordan. So
Okay.
we've been doing a few of these videos now, so now we're becoming the hive mind, right? So now you beat me to it, man.
Yeah, yeah. All right, good deal. Well, let's pick some songs of the
Yeah, man.
week. Bill, why don't you go first? We're gonna pick our favorite tracks off this project.
Yeah, yeah. So this week's song of the week by TBA, Solar Beam. In particular, what I love about this, I'll start with the production, then I'll go to the lyrics. Production, this bass guitar that kind of rumbles under the instrumentation, right? And really kind of sets the pace and sets the tone. And you've got this singular kind of snare that kind of gently crashes against the background of the beat, makes it feel atmospheric. And then the sound it's like this slightly distorted sample that sounds like strings, which really just fills out the rest of the beat so well. And the thing I thought of is like, it feels like you're kind of walking in a cloud that's about to turn into a thunderstorm because there's like a lot of build to it, right? And so that juxtaposed with some of the subject matter, and it's like you're referencing self-improvement. First line of the song was trying to be a better me. Last line of the hook was celebrate this life that's always tested me, right? So it's like this transformative journey that I find myself on. And it was really easy to get immersed because the sounds were so full and the lyrics, like you were alluding to, were so raw. And then I would say a couple other standout bars, sitting in the rubble because I like the sound of chaos, hope the struggle pays off. Like we are kind of putting ourselves through this fire over the course of life, right? And we're kind of hammering out the impurities on this quest for self-improvement, right? And so, and like one of the last bars I picked out was working for the future that I chose, right? So this idea of
Yeah,
self-improvement,
no, that was a good one.
yeah, this idea of self-improvement kind of with this full sonic landscape really captured me. And that was the one I probably had on repeat most. So song of the week for me, TBA, Solar Beam. Yeah, happy that we came across it, and good job.
I appreciate it. That was a deep analysis. That was good. That was really good. You brought. It's always fresh to hear other people's perspectives of the tracks,
Yeah.
especially when you're a small artist. You usually don't get a lot of that. You know what I mean?
Small for now, right? But hey, good
Yeah.
music.
Right.
Good music is good music, and how we try to do it on this channel is, if it's good, then it's good. So we're gonna give it the time of day, and we're gonna give it the attention we think it deserves. So hey, that's just kudos and props to you and your homies for executing the creative vision, man.
Bill Bill is great at picking out like really minute details. Like the way I always give him credit for the way he describes sound and production and those things. He's really good at that, and
Thank you,
picking
thank
out
you.
certain bars. Like he's good at that. So for me, my song of the week off your album is gonna be Nicotine in Malibu. And Bill knows, like, man, I like a hook that kind of makes me bob my head. And the first couple times I listened to your project, man, I couldn't get past this song because every time I got to this one, I kept playing it on repeat. I was kind of jigging around the apartment, bobbing my head. I really like this one. For me, one of the other things that I really liked, so Bill has taught me the nuances of a good flow and a good cadence, right? And how to kind of pick those things out. And so as I was listening through your album, I was listening through just the different ways you mixed up your flow and your syllables and everything. And your verses on here are just the way they ride with the beat and flow into the hook. I really enjoyed it. And again, the hook was catchy. I think it's featuring Heat. What
Yeah.
is that? Yeah, I was featuring Heat. And no, you guys crushed that song, man. And like I said, I loved your flow on here. I loved how there was something melodic about the entire song from start to finish. That was really dope. So that's my song of the week, Nicotine in Malibu.
I got a funny story about that song.
All right.
um, two things that are clearly separate. I wrote that song actually. I was with my girl, and we were at one of her friends' house, and I was sitting at the pool, and I had a cigar. I didn't have a Malibu. I think I had a beer or something
Okay.
like that. But I know I was super stressed that week or whatever it was, work or whatever. And I'm sitting there like, I'm in like the most relaxing setting on a pool in a summer day with a cigar, with a drink. And I feel stressed as hell. Like, and I was just like, damn. So I think I might have wrote it in my head at the time. It was conjuring up, and then I eventually it just came out. I think I had a session the next day, and that came. And I was like, wow, that's pretty damn good.
No, and part of the hook is I need a reset, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, we all know that feeling where, yeah, like I think of the Nicotine in Malibu as like, man, I kind of got my vices, and like for me, that's kind of a Friday, right? Where you come home, you pour a drink, you might spark something up, and you just need to chill out for a little bit and kind of just relax and reset, right? Like kind of refocus your mind.
Yeah, no, and then second thing is you guys probably can't hear it, and I'm the only person that can really hear it. Is so when I went to that session and I was like singing the vocals for that, I just got hit with the meanest allergies on the planet. So that whole thing sounds so nasally to me. Like, and I hear it sometimes, I'm like, damn. But I'm like, I can't recreate that. I'm not even gonna try and recreate it. So it's just gonna be what it is. So I was in there. I think I had one of those the Vicks things you put in your nose.
Yeah.
I had one of those. I had paper towel, tissue papers, all that. And I'm like, damn.
Sometimes that's the destiny of the song, though, right? Like the sounds. We did a song of the week where Bill picked this song by this artist named Nika, who starts the song off with this really distinct whistle from her uncle way back in the day, and like, it's music is supposed to be organic, like it's not supposed to be perfect, and sound and music and all of those things come together in a way perfectly sometimes. So, you mentioned I didn't notice it. That's my favorite track on your project, and I didn't notice it at all. And maybe the nasally of your voice, maybe that sound is what hooked me. You never know.
Yeah, I don't know.
So next time you get allergies, just be like, I gotta go to the studio and see what happens next.
Right.
Might not be a fluke,
Something about the auto tune, the note just hits the right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Other than that, man, do you have any other music coming out that we should be on the lookout for? Are there other projects that you want us to bump that while we're going through your discography, or anyone that's listening that's going through your discography, anything else that they should be checking out?
I would say if you haven't listened to Nostalgia Kills, go listen to that, because Lost en Route half makes sense before. If you don't listen to Nostalgia Kills, that gives you the full context of what's going on prior to that. And I think, honestly, rap-wise, it's my best tape yet. I wouldn't say this tape was really rap-focused. It was a lot more sonics. So if you want to hear me rap for real, then go listen to Nostalgia Kills. Other than that, shout out. Who I want to shout out? Shout out my boy Brino. He's on Iskino with me. That's kind of our little collaborative group. Shout out my boy Brino. If y'all ain't listening to him, go listen to him. He's a featured on a few songs throughout my discography, but he working with him and Afo together really pushed my sonics, pushed my ability to not just rap on a beat, but make real music. So definitely go listen to him. Listen to my boy D Moons. He's featured on there. I would say listen to my boy Heat, but he ain't really had no music out. He actually is who I started making music with in the dorm room.
Okay.
So shout out him for being on the project. Other than that, shout out y'all for giving me the platform to kind of speak, and thank you for listening and really digesting and giving good feedback, of course.
Yeah, we appreciate you giving us the time also, man. This has been fun.
No, for sure.
Yeah. No. Bill, you want to take us home?
Yeah, why not? Thank y'all for tuning in to another installment of Song of the Week. I'm Bill Farrow, master of the channel himself, Jordan Bell, and our first artist, TBA. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to check out all his music. Links to all that will be below in the description box. And last but not least, be sure to like, subscribe, share, whatever helps. Anything helps, whatever you all can do. And for now, Song of the Week, good people content. Check y'all next time.
Peace.